Hey there! Welcome to Emotional Connection. I'm thrilled you're joining me today. Ever wonder why some people seem to effortlessly attract success, relationships, and opportunities while others struggle despite chasing them relentlessly? What if I told you there's a life-changing principle, all that could completely transform your relationships, career, and overall success? Today, I'm sharing something I'm deeply passionate about. A life philosophy that has not only changed my life, but could change yours too. It's not just a quick fix, it's a sustainable approach that can serve you for a lifetime. I call it a life choice, because that's exactly what it is. A deliberate decision about how you want to navigate this world. Have you ever stopped to consider whether you're spending your life chasing things or attracting them? Think about that for a moment. Which one describes your current approach? This philosophy can be summed up in a powerful concept. Become irresistible, the art of magnetic living. Let me explain what I mean. If you want to succeed in life, whether it's small victories or massive achievements, focus on becoming someone irresistible rather than someone who constantly chases. I often use this metaphor. If you had to choose between being a magnet or a piece of metal, always choose to be the magnet. Being a magnet might not be perfect, but it's infinitely better than being a piece of metal. Why? Because a magnet pulls things toward it, while metal just gets pulled. And here's the beautiful part. Magnets don't just attract metal, they can attract other magnets too. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how truly successful people not only attract those less successful, but also draw in equally or even more successful individuals? That's the power of becoming a magnet in your life. Now, let me be clear about what I mean by the opposite of being irresistible in this context. I'm talking about desperately running after people, begging, pleading, compromising your dignity, forgetting your worth, all for something that might be ultimately meaningless. Living that way makes success extremely difficult. Let's look at a common example. Many people complain, "I'm single, I can't get dates, nobody's interested in me." It's a prevalent story, and many feel stressed about their declining attractiveness, feeling they have nothing that makes them desirable. Let me ask you something. Have you ever asked yourself, what qualities do I have that would naturally attract others to me? This is a game-changing question. Remember this crucial point. In life, if you want to level up, especially in relationships, become irresistible, master the art of magnetic living. When you chase after one person after another without confidence, you'll likely experience repeated rejection and heartbreak. One person rejects you, you feel terrible. Two people reject you, and your old wound hasn't healed before a new one forms. 3 rejections, 4. You become someone who's lost all self-confidence. Why? Because you're terrified of failing again. Eventually, you'll start to withdraw, and this withdrawal doesn't just affect relationships, it spills over into every aspect of your life. You become more timid, more fearful. Failure transforms into something terrifying in your mind. That's the consequence of choosing to live by chasing others, begging them to accept you. It's like being a piece of metal running after magnets. If those magnets reject you, you're left stressed and diminished. Let's flip the script, shall we? Here's something to consider. What if instead of asking, "Why doesn't anyone like me?" you asked, "What can I develop in myself that would naturally draw others to me?" What qualities make you attractive? You need to ponder this question deeply, or you'll spend your entire life as a piece of metal. What makes you attractive? I've noticed many beautiful women tend to choose highly educated partners. Maybe these educated men aren't always wealthy, but there's something about education that attracts. Is it your education? Your intelligence? Are you respected in academic circles? That's something that attracts. Or perhaps it's your appearance. Someone will appreciate your good looks. Are you funny? When you sit at a table, do you make everyone laugh heartily? Some people will adore your sense of humor. Are you a good listener? Do people feel completely at ease and secure when they're with you, making them want to be around you? Do you have success in your field? There are hundreds, thousands of internal qualities that can make you attractive to others. The important thing is to ask yourself, what do I have that attracts others? Or do I have nothing attractive at all? When you have nothing attractive, you'll resort to chasing others instead of attracting them. Have you ever wondered, so what's stopping most people from choosing to be magnets instead of metal? Why do most people choose chasing rather than attracting? Because attracting is hard. Attracting means you have to cultivate, train, develop, and improve yourself for a period of time before you can attract others. You can't just wake up one morning wanting to be the most attractive person in the world with everyone seeking you out. It doesn't work that way. The word attract comes after words like struggle, training, and time. Training to become worthy, that's what it takes. This is a life choice. For example, I personally know many people care about me. This is simply fact, not boasting. The number of people who care about me exceeds the average, and I can feel all that love. I receive tremendous affection from many people, but looking back 10 to 15 years ago, how could I have attracted anything like this? 10 to 15 years ago, I was nothing. I had nothing attractive about me. I was ordinary. So if there's a defining day when I began attracting others, before that day came a string of days, months, and years where I had to work hard to bring value to this world so people would care about me. And during those days, I had no idea what the future held. But I persisted because that was my choice, my life choice to become someone who attracts. Eventually, people would value me and love me. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you invested in developing an attractive quality in yourself? What steps are you taking today to become more magnetic? Let me share a story. Occasionally, college students ask me, "There's this beautiful person in my class that I really like, but they won't date me." When I ask these students if they see any chance of changing the situation, they usually answer, "Probably not. I have nothing that would make that person choose me. And they're so attractive that 7 or 8 others in class already like them." I congratulate them for recognizing the reality. The first thing they need to do is ask themselves, what do I have that's attractive? What potential do I have to be attractive? Then polish, sharpen, and elevate those qualities daily, monthly, yearly, until they become someone others look at and nod. This person has got it. By the time you become that accomplished, maybe that specific person still won't choose you. But you'll have many advantages in finding relationships that suit you. That's your edge. Life is sometimes a game of probabilities. If you can increase your chance of success to 80%, that's already amazing. A 20% chance of failure? That's manageable. Here's a question worth reflecting on. In your social group, are you known for a specific positive quality that makes people seek you out? Look at yourself. What appealing qualities could you develop to attract others? If you're among the top 3 students in your class, people will notice you, compared to being ranked 57th. Or, if you win scholarships every semester, clearly people will notice. Some might be jealous, but many will admire you. You become someone who attracts. So choose to be a magnet. Use your free time to train, develop, and try to polish your attractiveness. Make yourself extremely attractive, and you'll have more choices in any field. Let's talk about everyday relationships. There's a story about borrowing money that you've probably heard in life before. Why can some people easily borrow money while others can't borrow even small amounts except at high interest? It's a story about trust. Some people run from person to person begging, "Trust me, please trust me, boss, please trust me." They scream until their throats are sore, but no one trusts them. Why? Because others look at them and see nothing trustworthy about them. These people have no foundation for others to trust them, and many become bitter because others don't trust them. Have you ever considered this? Does society have an obligation to trust you? Remember, you probably don't trust everyone either. The responsibility lies with you. You must prove yourself trustworthy. That's a healthy life approach. If you don't try, why should people trust you? To have a magnet of trustworthiness installed within you, you must live daily in a way that makes people look at you and trust you. How do you live daily? If you're too selfish, too competitive, too argumentative, too serious, making people dislike you, they won't want to trust you. Then, when trouble comes, how will any hand reach out to help you? When you need to borrow money, who will lend it? You need to look inward. Do you have a magnet within you? Your daily lifestyle, your daily time is how you build attractiveness. Even many people who never use their attractiveness still habitually build up their attractiveness and reputation. They're wonderful. You know some people who never borrow from anyone, although if they asked, others would voluntarily lend to them. They never borrow, yet they still build trustworthiness through their daily life. That's wonderful. Take a moment to reflect. If you were in serious trouble tomorrow, how many hands would reach out to help you? If many hands reach out to you in your most difficult times, it proves you're someone who lives very well day to day. This is undeniable. You're someone who lives well for others. You're a magnet. You don't need to prove your trustworthiness to anyone. Conversely, if we typically live for ourselves too much, knowing only me, then heartbreak and dissatisfaction may come when we're down. This is real. I have a personal story. I've lent money to people, but I'm very careful. I remember when I was poor, and unluckily, I received several wedding invitations that month. I had only about $5 out of $10 in my account, and I was nearly panicking about these weddings, because they were all from close friends. I couldn't just not go, and even if I didn't attend, I'd need to send something. I looked through my list of friends and found someone relatively close. I took a chance and asked, "Do you have money to lend me $100? They lent it to me immediately, and I still remember their kindness. Later, when they needed to borrow a large sum from me, I lent it to them within seconds. No thought, no asking about repayment dates, just making it comfortable. They repaid very quickly. Here's something to think about. When was the last time you helped someone without expecting anything in return? How did it make you feel? Why is it that when someone borrows money from you, you don't need to think about it? You can lend immediately? Because your assessment of that person has developed over many years. You know their daily lifestyle well. Why wouldn't you trust them? They're already a magnet. Their character attracts your trust. You're already attracted and grateful to them for the days when you were at your worst. You never forget that kindness. There's never a second of doubt. Here's my account number. Of course, there's a risk you'll be scammed or played, but the risk is too small compared to my trust in that person. I see day after day after day that this person lives well, and they've never disappointed me. Even if there's a probability of the unexpected, I don't care, and so far, I haven't encountered that unexpected situation. This section is a bit personal, just experiential, but I still want to occasionally use my own stories so you can empathize with my perspective a bit. With this topic, some people probably won't like it, because when you're down and out, going around borrowing money, and everyone shakes their head, it hurts and feels humiliating, but in those moments, blaming the world doesn't help you grow. I always live by the principle of blame yourself first, blame yourself last. There must be a reason people won't lend to you, right? Often, we let familiarity distort our thinking. For example, if you apply for a bank loan and get rejected, you don't hate the bank. But if you ask a relative for money and they refuse, you resent them. That's unreasonable. It's people's money. They have the right to lend it or not. Sometimes it creates an absurdity. You ask someone for help, they don't help, so you hate them. Do you deserve help then? By helping you, they gain nothing. It might be the last money they have, and they risk their own family being short of funds. But if they don't give it to you, they get cursed. How many heartbreaking stories come from debt and borrowing? Let me challenge you with this question. If you had to rate your trustworthiness on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you fall? What could you do to increase that number? Few understand the role and position of someone who refuses to lend money. So I'll put this detail in parentheses. Just personal experience and very personal stories. Just listen casually. You don't have to follow. To sum up, we haven't gone off topic. It's still the story of Become Irresistible, the art of magnetic living. Having trust means being someone who lives decently, at least with those around you. That decency will be the magnetic force that draws others to you. And at some point, it becomes very easy to get help when you need it. But if you only live for yourself every day, then in difficult times, you'll chase from person to person, running from one to another, knocking on doors, and sometimes failing completely. That's very unfortunate. I'm curious, in your life right now, are you primarily magnetic or constantly pursuing? Have you mastered the art of being irresistible, or are you still chasing? What evidence do you have for your answer? Success works the same way. Honestly, my phone number gets many spam calls daily, and sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes you're mentally drained, needing to think about something, having important tasks that require quiet. Some decisions in life are difficult, not simple. Then a phone call comes. Want to buy land? Want to buy an apartment? Want to buy a shop house? Want to buy insurance? They call without needing to hear what you say, speaking like machines, destroying your emotions. But importantly, you don't buy, right? I still think their success rate is too low because they've already failed on the emotional level. For example, with insurance, I have the phone number of an insurance seller I trust, and when I need it, I'll buy from them. Same with other products. I have brands and acquaintances in mind, trustworthy people. When needed, I'll buy from them. How can high-value items be purchased through a phone call? Too difficult. Of course, they have a success rate, but these telemarketers work in an extremely crazy environment of sales targets, KPIs, daily tasks. It's truly insane. They have to call so many people to get a tiny conversion rate. A few people will view the product, fewer will actually buy. I'm not disparaging telemarketers. I actually feel sorry for them because I know some who are truly frantic, hair disheveled, calling, getting cursed at often, with salaries that aren't high. Sometimes I both sympathize and feel sorry for them. Life sometimes has these mixed emotions, because I've also had my emotions disturbed many times when I needed to concentrate. That's the part where I'm annoyed with them, but I also pity them because they struggle so much. Sometimes we call it telemarketing out of sympathy, but even the law calls them spam calls, meaning junk calls. Calling someone without their consent is bothering them. Spam, not telemarketing. Telemarketing is when they're already your customer and allow you to call. The law already defines it that way. If you don't believe me, Google it. But anyway, let's call it telemarketing out of sympathy. Once I told a friend, honestly, I never buy when strangers call. My contacts already have all the people who sell those things, or if I need to buy, I'll find someone I consider most reputable. Maybe whoever ranks first on Google. That's attraction. I need them, they appear. They attract me. Or it could be a very famous reviewer on YouTube. That's attraction. Or it could be a brand in the industry. No, that's attraction. Or maybe my sibling will introduce me to that salesperson. That's attraction. Take a moment to honestly assess. What businesses or individuals do you naturally seek out when you need something? What makes them so magnetic to you? And those friends with attraction? Wow, their sales numbers are enviable. They're not frantically working as if their heads are about to explode. The story of success here is simply chase or attract. Chasing is easy. Have 1,000 phone numbers. Call. No need to prepare anything except time and effort, but the probability of return is sometimes not high. Attracting? To reach the level of attraction, there's suffering first. Sometimes you have to make a website, write articles until you're dying, then promote the website to top Google rankings so when people search, they find you. That's attraction. It's extremely difficult to become an influencer in fields like real estate, cars, investment, but once you have a little influence, sales will come. So choose, suffering first, pleasure later, or pleasure first, suffering later. Becoming someone who attracts is very arduous, but the fruits are sweet and increasingly developed. Because now it's the story of the 80-20 rule. In any industry, 20% of people eat almost all the best things in the industry. They're the attractors. The remaining 80% of people who aren't as attractive eat the small 20% that's left. That's how the story goes. Here's a thought experiment for you. If you were to become an attractor in your field, What unique value could you offer that others don't? This is a very real example. The salespeople I know in my contacts sell a lot, and almost everyone in their network who needs something calls them. People refer each other. Call that guy, he's reputable. Call that guy, he's sweet. Call that guy, he's enthusiastic. That's what people build to attract. I know many good salespersons who worked extremely hard initially. They were super enthusiastic and aimed for trust rather than money. Sometimes driving dozens of kilometers to consult, then returning empty-handed. But they were building. One day they became famous in the industry for being enthusiastic. Then orders came in. Later, they stressed about having too many orders rather than stressing about having no customers. This story happens in every industry, right? Some people have so many friends, it's crazy. How do you know so many people? How do you hang out with so many successful people? They're attractors. If you want to be like them, ask yourself, what do I have that attracts? And pump a lot of effort and time to become like them. At some point, you become a magnet, not just attracting metal, but attracting other magnets too. That's how life operates. That's a life choice. Consider this practical question. What one quality could you focus on developing in the next 90 days that would make you more magnetic to the people you want to attract? Whew! I've been talking non-stop today. On my recording clock, it's been 45 minutes. It's the weekend, and I'm having too much fun discussing everything. I really want to stay for a long time with you all, especially with my emotional connections. I really enjoy staying with you for a long time. It brings me joy. Sometimes people say, oh my goodness, I run 2 laps every morning, but just halfway through the first lap, the program is already more than half over. That makes me sad too, which is why sometimes I want to make it a bit longer. This episode is quite long. I hope it can accompany you on a bus journey, while drinking coffee, or during a run, long enough for you to complete your training lap. That would make me happy. To conclude this topic, become irresistible, the art of magnetic living. At least in my experience, it's like the saying, good land attracts birds. If you become an irresistible piece of land, birds will definitely land. If you become a wild piece of land where birds flying overhead look down and think, yikes, this land is full of traps. If I land, I'll die. Then no bird will land. Remember this metaphor. We've gone on long enough. Thank you so much. Let's part ways for now, and we'll meet again next week. Bye-bye. Before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's one step you're going to take this week to become more irresistible and master the art of magnetic living? Share below, and let's inspire each other.